Sometimes I have to just remember that I'm 26 and I am in my mid-20s, and the shit that I go through, the things that I have gone through, they're not necessarily unique to me. And I don't have to beat myself up about the choices and decisions that I've made in love, because anyone with my life story would have also made those choices. All I can do now is process my emotions, continue to heal from my past, tell a new story, and know that God has created me to be loved. Sometimes my intuition is so good that I know things are coming, and my own intuition tells me that things are coming, but I don't even see it clearly, and I don't even put it together in the right way. I was just doing a pick a card reading. I don't know when. Yesterday, 2 days ago, I don't know. And in the reading, I said, pile number 2, you're somebody like me. You will stay in the relationship and you will give your all until you just can't give anymore. And then you hit that breaking point, and then you're never going back. I didn't know that I was at that point in my most recent soulmate connection. I mean, if you're an avid listener of the podcast, you probably knew before me, but this one was hard. It was really hard. And last night, I cried for hours because I started to realize and understand and heal the inner children that were still trying to create resolve and be integrated and healed and loved and chosen through this soulmate relationship. In my last, not the most recent one, but the one before, kind of major soulmate relationship, I think just because I date someone and just because they like teach me something and just because they trigger something, I don't really consider it like a soulmate relationship. I guess in my mind, a soulmate relationship would be someone that I think that I'm gonna marry. And that's only happened to me 2 times in my life. So the first time on my platform, we refer to that as the incident. The first time I did the same, healing my inner child, loving myself, all of this stuff. And the straw that broke the camel's back on that relationship was just like, this isn't my love story. This isn't what I want. This isn't what I want. The women that I serve with my platform, this isn't what I want them to think is normal or the kind of love that can be celebrated or should be celebrated. This isn't what I want for my daughters. This isn't what I want for my family. That was basically the final moment for me, like the final nail in the coffin of so many other things. That was the final nail in the coffin for me. And so getting into this soulmate relationship, if you go back and listen to the podcast episodes, I tried really hard where I was like having moments where I was like, I think that I need to leave this guy alone. I think that this needs to be over. I think that this needs to be done. And I was trying to use the same thing. Like, no, I learned this lesson. You're right. This isn't the story that I want for my community and blah, blah, blah. But that didn't work. Because my job is not to show women the kind of relationship that they should have. My job is to help women to trust themselves. Whether you have disagreements or triggers in a relationship with a man in the beginning and then you guys reconcile and things come together and you get the relationship of your dreams, or you walk away from the guy and you get the relationship of your dreams. My job is to help you believe in you and love you and trust you and connect with your guides and your spirits and your ancestors to make the best choices and decisions for yourself in your life. My job is not to live a life where you want to follow every single step that I took to have a life that is a replica of mine. My job is to show you what I did so that you can walk to the beat of your own drum, so that you can trailblaze your own path, so that you can create the relationship and the family and the dynamic in love and life and career that you want, that aligns with you on a soul level. So that final nail in the coffin for the incident just didn't work in this context. And this time was really weird for a lot of reasons. And the reason and the thing that basically like unraveled all of it was that I really want to go to Halloween Horror Nights this year. And I'm not joking. It started off as one desire. Well, not really one desire, just a recent desire that just makes me see things differently. I want to go to Halloween Horror Nights this year. And I want to go on a date. But the most recent previous soulmate relationship, I just don't see that happening. I don't want that to happen. It's not that I don't want that to happen. It's that I don't want to get my hopes up. I don't want to expect anything from him. I don't want to ask anything of him because I don't trust him to show up. I don't trust him at all. I don't trust him even a little bit. And what started off as me having the desire to go to this Halloween amusement park funness led to me seeing this really big problem, which is that I've been feeling so anxious lately. My life is coming together. My dreams are manifesting. I'm getting what I want. My content is being pushed out. My income is increasing. I found this really beautiful wedding venue, and sometimes in some things, you just don't want certain people's energy signature to touch because they will ruin it. I'm not the type of person who, I might date and fall in love with guys who kind of trigger wounds in relationships. Like, that's a commonality. But in general, just comparing the two major soulmates, they're not guys that I would say have a lot of similarities, except the fact that they both were in a fraternity. You know what I mean? Like, when one relationship is over and one relationship is done, I don't want to date a guy that reminds me of the guy that I left behind or whatever. So when I see this wedding venue and I see my hair in a French roll and I see myself in a tiara and I see myself so happy, I don't want to see that guy, the most recent guy, as the groom, because he will ruin it. If I see him as the groom and I associate him with that place, then I don't want to get married in the actual place, because then I'll be thinking about that last guy. Not like I'll miss the last guy, or not like I'll have regrets, or not like I'll wish that it was the last guy. I don't know. You either get it or you don't. It will just be tainted. I have such a negative relationship with the city of New York because of every single thing that happened there. And that's its own thing that I'm still unraveling and moving through and separating and healing from. So I think about Universal Studios and I think about all of the amazing things that are happening for me in my life, and I think about, in the past several weeks, I have had conversations with my friends where we talked about this in the last episode or the one before, I don't know. I told them, this thing that you did hurt me. It made me feel like this and this and this. And they apologized to me. We talked about it. They showed up with empathy. I don't have 100 friends. I don't know if I will ever want to have 100 friends, but the women that I do have in my life, they show up for me and they take care of me, and they show me what love is. I had to heal. I had to tell a new story. I had to develop self-love. I had to practice discernment. I had to know which people to cut out of my life and which people to forgive and all of these things. But these women, they show me practically in the everyday what it feels like to be in connection with people who love you and care about you and who care about how you feel and are supporting you. Me and my friends say sorry like it's going out of style. Is that the right way to use that phrase? Me and my friends apologize to each other. Not like it means nothing, but like it's no big deal. Like people make mistakes and we accidentally sometimes hurt each other. We can't necessarily be there for each other 24/7, and we get it and we understand it and we apologize when we've hurt someone. Even if it wasn't our intention, we apologize because we care. We apologize because we love each other. And I was thinking about my wedding. And I was thinking about one of my closest friends. And I was thinking about all of my wedding gifts. Because I'm thinking about all of the details. I was thinking about my wedding gifts, and I was thinking, how will I get my wedding gifts back to my house if I'm going to leave from my wedding venue to my honeymoon? And I was thinking, well, I'll probably just ask my really close friend to make sure to deliver the gifts to my house. And I could see her. And she's so amazing and thoughtful and loving and caring. And I could just see her. Like, I packed all the gifts. They're in the trunk of the rental car. I turned the AC on so nothing gets ruined inside. I could just see her being so deliberate, and something as silly as wedding gifts and presents, she would take that responsibility so seriously. She would drive from the wedding venue to my house. She would drop off the gifts and she would take pictures and she would tell me where she put them in the house, and she would make sure that the door was locked, and she would handle it with care, not just because the gifts are expensive or whatever, but because they mean something to me. And I mean something to her. And I'm so loved. And I'm so blessed to have built this friendship and to be loved by someone who sees me and cares for me and supports me and hypes me up and is like one of my biggest fans. And no, I'm not in love with her. She's lovely and I love her deeply, but that's like, my sister, but she taught me the way that she loves me is so similar to the way that I love myself. And the way that I love her is also so similar to the way that I love myself. The way that I show up for her, the way that I cheer her on, so on and so forth. And it's in these moments that I can see where my self-love and my expectations and my understanding of love does manifest in the physical, and it is reflected back to me in such beautiful ways. And I think about this most recent soulmate, and for so much of the relationship connection, my focus was on this really terrible, actually disgraceful first meeting with that man. And how do I forgive? How do I release? How do I understand him because of his life experience and his family history and all of these things? And last night, as I laid in bed and I talked to my grandma, my late grandmother, my father's mother, who always shows up for me, especially in moments like this, especially when I feel heartbroken and sad. I laid in my bed and I cried, and I realized that so much of my soulmate connection was me trying to become more accommodating and become more diplomatic and become more forgiving, and constantly trying to communicate and express to this man that I am a safe space, and that he can and should express himself to me and be with me. And certain things just started to make sense for me, where I just was like, whoa, what about me? What about how I feel? What about what I need? What about what I desire? What about how I'm treated? What about my emotions and my feelings? Because the truth is, even though I was imperfect and impatient and insecure and kind of dodgy and in and out and a lot of different things at the beginning of our relationship, I'm not the person who blocked him off. I'm not the person who pushed him away. I'm not the person that wasn't willing to try. I'm not the person that disregarded his feelings. I'm not the person who was in the wrong. And I thought about it and I reflected. In the past couple of weeks, maybe months, I have been anxious, feeling insecure about other women. And it makes me cry, not because I'm insecure in myself, but it makes me cry because I laid on my bed last night and I had so much love poured into me by all of my spirits. And the truth is that I am amazing. I am so much greater. So much more powerful than I can even fathom. And to be so brilliant and to be so beautiful. And to be connected to a man who puts you in a position. Sometimes your own insecurity can trigger that moment. Sometimes your own past can trigger that moment. But if he allows it, then he's contributing to it. So to be in a relationship with a man who would allow me to be insecure and comparing myself to other women and wondering whether or not I can trust him and all of these other things. I have seen, even in my own, not my own imagination, I have seen this man give to other people what he refuses to give to me. And I have become insecure in myself and in this woman that I don't recognize. It was like a week, like 2 weeks of me just feeling so anxious. And like, is he choosing me? Does he want to be with me? Is he showing up for me? Does he still want me? Does he still like me? This anxiety that is not me. It's not me. And as I sat, I felt betrayed. beautiful Black woman, this divine feminine energy, this beautiful, delicate flower. You have to honor her, and you have to cherish her, and you have to treat her with care because she's so sensitive. And to be in a connection with a man who would allow me to be unhappy, who would allow me to be confused, who would allow me to be anxious, who would allow me to be insecure. I don't do this. I don't stalk Instagram accounts. I don't stalk following lists. I don't do that. I haven't done that I haven't done that shit since probably 2020. To have that experience, I just felt like I was sliding back into a version of myself that I'm not. Because the women of the world can be beautiful and amazing and lovely and all of these other things. You can meet the Western beauty standard. You can be a Taylor Swift replica. And I will still be Natalie Annalise Hughes, and I would never, ever, 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 ever trade who I am and my own family history, our gifts, our talents, this legacy that I have inherited, that I have the honor of carrying on and growing and expanding. Taking us to places that we have never been, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, physically, spiritually, in terms of our self-esteem and our self-confidence. I don't really know how exactly I'm perceived by the external modern world, because I still maintain that I probably 98% have a little twinge of the tism. And I'm just not as aware of how other people see me, or maybe I've never been. I don't know how the rest of the world perceives me and whether or not they think that I'm good enough. But I know how I feel when I connect with my ancestors. I am to say that I am an answered prayer, that doesn't even begin to express the way that my ancestors feel about me. And to be an answered prayer, and to be treated as if I am an option, or I'm insignificant, or I don't matter, or I don't exist, or I'm unwanted. It just feels like I am this sacred land that has been desecrated by the way that this man has treated me. And not apologizing is still treating someone poorly. Not speaking to someone that you know wants to speak to you is still treating someone poorly. This might be a controversial hot take, but having feelings for someone and acting as if you don't and being nonchalant, to me, is gaslighting. You're trying to convince me that what I see and what I feel and my perception of the reality is not right or true. And we've talked about this in previous episodes. There is no compartmentalizing your life and your mindset. And as I sit in this relationship and I question myself and I question things about who I am and I question my own intuition, that impacts me in my job. Not just as a mindset coach, but as a psychic medium. Excuse me, I burped. Who channels messages? I can't live in a world where men make me question my intuition and my gifts that I have been given to help thousands and thousands of people all over the world. There are tens of thousands of women all over the globe that tell me every single day that my work helps them, that my work resonates with them, that my intuition is strong and powerful. And for there to be one man who makes me question myself and these wonderful gifts, it is blasphemy. I'm not being funny and I'm not being dramatic. Like, this is genuinely how I feel. I feel like being in this relationship hurts. I feel like loving this man hurts. And I don't want to do that anymore. Not because of my audience, not because of my daughters, not because of my friends, not because of the women that I inspire, not because of the women that I will inspire when I get into the relationship, not because of anything in the external world, but because before I have another baby, I am my baby. I am in the physical, even though I have my support teams and all of this stuff. Before I had people in the physical who had my back, who loved me, who showed up for me, all I had was myself. I was my first and only protector for so much of my life. Even in the past 6 years, reparenting myself. I am the only real mother, healthy mother that I have ever known. And sometimes I have to step in as the mother of myself. And I have to say that sometimes it's just enough. Because I love her too much to see her be treated this way. And I love her too much to see her feel like this. And I have the emotional tools to work through the insecurity. And of course I do. I have the emotional and the mental tools to love myself and be confident in myself. And you can't poke and trigger something that's not wounded. And so I recognize the wounds and I heal the wounds and I get all of that, and I honor that for what it is. And also, I just think that that's enough. I love my baby and I think that she's had enough. I realized that the last straw for me in this connection was taking myself into consideration. I was trying to prove that I was worthy of love. I was trying to prove that I should be chosen. I was trying to earn kindness and empathy and love and care, which you can never earn these things. Somebody's going to be kind and compassionate and loving and caring towards you, or they're not. You can't make someone who's kind and compassionate stop being kind and compassionate. It's who they are. It's their character. There's nothing you can do to make somebody who's not loving love you. You can't earn that. Because there's nothing that human beings have ever done to me, have ever had to prove to me to make them earn my love and my kindness. I do that because that's who I am. As a consequence of somebody else's actions, you might earn my boundaries. You might earn getting cussed the fuck out. Absolutely. You might earn me creating distance. You might earn me releasing and letting a relationship go. But there's nothing that another human being ever has to do to earn my kindness and my compassion, because that's who I am. I am a loving person. I am a generous person. I am a nice person. I am a kind-hearted person. That is who I am. I have been trying to figure out what is going on. What is going on? Maybe this is my soulmate because it's not like the incident, because I'm not being triggered in this way and this way and this way and all of this stuff. I've been fighting and figuring it out and having breakthroughs and healing and shifting, and nothing can ever take that away. And, I'll always value that in the way that I value all of my relationships with men over time, and how they all help me to heal and reflect and shift and, But I thought about this man and a memory from when I was 14 years old with my abusive brother came to mind. If you listen to the whole podcast, I've probably told the story a million times. My youngest older brother abused me physically, psychologically, emotionally, sexually, but, the lines there are blurred and complex, and we won't go into the details. But he is abusive. And something about my brother and this man just kept coming to me. And I couldn't see it. I couldn't understand. Until I remembered a time I was 13 or 14 years old, either in the 8th grade or the 9th grade. And my abusive brother didn't live with us. Me and my mom lived with my grandpa in my grandpa's house. And it was like the summertime. And there was only like 4 people living in my grandpa's house. It was me, my uncle, my mom, and my grandpa. So my brother, I think at this time, he was like in college. He didn't live there, just like went by to visit or something. And I have a cousin, he's like a year older than me. He didn't live there, he was just there to visit or something. So I was there, my mom was at work. Pretty sure my grandpa was there. My grandpa was always home. But my abusive brother was there, and my cousin was there, and they were playing video games. And the worst thing about narcissistic abuse is how everybody else really loves your abuser. How they're so popular. And they give everybody else a version of themselves that they will never give you. And so, if you're like me, and unfortunately your abuser is in your family, you get to spend your entire life with people talking about your abuser as if he walked on water. And nobody will ever understand how it feels to be you. And that is so isolating. So I was there in my home, and my brother and cousin were there, and they were like playing video games with each other in the living room. And they did not invite me to play, did not ask me if I wanted to play. And my brother went and got McDonald's for himself and for my cousin. And he didn't get me anything. And we didn't have anything to eat in the house, so I just didn't eat. And it's moments like that where maybe from somebody else's perspective, you might say, well, how do you know that he was being abusive towards you? Maybe it's because it's your house and they're guests, so he went and got them food and he figured you had food. But if you know what it's like to be abused, then you know that there are moments like that and the way that you feel where it is being communicated to you that you don't get food because you don't matter. You're not worthy. You don't deserve. I think about that moment, and it doesn't make me cry because it happened, it makes me cry from the perspective of a mother that loves that little girl so bad. A mother that knows how hard it was for that little girl to stay alive. And it makes me angry. And in that moment, I realized a parallel. I had to watch somebody else get the love and attention and nurture and care and support that I wanted. My brother that abused me is 9 years older than me. Nearly a decade. And I didn't really have my dad in like the beginning of my life. Like, he was always around. I always like knew of him, but he wasn't really super like present. Always in and out. But in the very beginning of my life, like the first 7, 8 years, my older brother was my best friend. He was probably my favorite person in the world. And then his dad died. And when his dad died, it was like he died with him. He was still alive, but the brother that I had, he was gone. He wasn't nice to me anymore. Obviously, he hurt me. He didn't make me feel safe. And I didn't realize it. But I spent a lot of time hoping that one day my brother would come back. Just, kids. We don't understand psychology. We don't understand grief. We don't understand emotions. We don't understand any of these things. Part of me just hoped that it was like a bad dream, a moment, a season, a chapter, or something. Maybe one day it would get better. Maybe. And it did not get better. And I do not have contact with that brother. We do not speak because I am my mother and protector, so, And as I reflected on that moment, I realized in that recent soulmate connection, I was that 14-year-old girl, 13-year-old girl who saw somebody else getting the love and attention and things that she desired, and who felt like it was something wrong with her, felt like she was broken, felt like she was unworthy, felt like she had done something to deserve being treated that way. But that was never true. I never did anything wrong. I never had too many needs. I never wanted too much. I never did anything wrong. I couldn't change myself and become more loving and kind and compassionate. I couldn't do anything to make him love me or choose me or treat me well or apologize for the way that he abused me. There was nothing to do with me. I couldn't change that. And last night, before I reflected on the recent soulmate relationship, I thought about manifestation, because there's infinite realities available. Does that mean that there's a reality available where I have healed my relationship with my abusive brother and we live together as, well, we, have a relationship and everybody is one big happy family and we fucking kumbaya? Is that available? I guess. Would I ever fix my pen or my lips or my third eye to visualize or speak or write that into existence? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because simply put, I'm not the one who did anything wrong. I'm not the one who hurt me. I'm not the one who abused children. I'm not the one who manipulated. That's not mine to clean up. That's not mine to fix. That's not mine to heal. That's not mine to shift. And there's something inside of me in my heart that just tells me it would be wrong to try, wrong to do. Too much responsibility. No. That's not my cross to bear. That's not my thing to fix. That's not my thing to right away. That's not mine. I want a happy family life just as much as the next family-oriented person does. But I am not the woman, like many women who came before me, that are willing to sacrifice themselves, their happiness, their dignity, and their self-respect in order to create peace and quote-unquote harmony and all of that. And as I reflected on that experience with my brother, and I reflected on that desire not to touch that connection, to let it go, to let it die, to let that bridge be reduced to ashes. I thought about this soulmate relationship. I thought about manifesting your specific person. You can do what you want with your life. You have free will. I believe that you can create what you want. I believe that you can create what you desire. But what do you want in your heart and in your soul? I am willing to tell a new story about men. I am willing to tell a new story about relationships. I am willing to tell a new story about what I get to have. And I am. But I will not write a specific man's way out of his own mess and mistreatment and bullshit and disrespect of me. I won't do it. I won't do it. That's my line. The past couple of weeks, I have been having a lot of experiences with men in my physical reality. There are some very attractive men that go to my gym. And I haven't been open because I really wanted to marry the soulmate, you guys. But I get treated so well by men. I get prioritized. They let me cut in front of them in line. They're always so lovely and courteous and considerate and generous with me and trying to help me even when I didn't ask for help. I realize now that I don't just want to go to Halloween Horror Nights. I want real life shit. And there was a time when I was okay with the guy who didn't show up because I wasn't really ready. I didn't have the wardrobe to go out on dates. I didn't have this and I didn't have that. I just wasn't ready. And there is a dress in my closet that is begging to be put on. And there is something inside of me that is now ready to really, really, really be loved with actions and words, apologies, and pure intentions. So, for the last and final time, I wash my hands of the situation. I let that second soulmate go. And I am moving on. And it sounds sad because I still, have the feelings and emotions to process. I'm not going to do what I did with the incident. I'm not going to do what I did previous times within this connection. Which is like, I'm done. I'm over it. On to the next. Because I know what to do. And I know that I need to feel, and I know that I need to process, and I know that I need to move through. I know how to walk away from a soulmate situation properly. And it's time. So that was today's episode, and I hope that it helps you to get the courage to make some challenging decisions, to love yourself and honor yourself, to heal from your past. The processes that I use to understand my past and how it's impacting my present are literally inside of my course, Love After Loss. Check it out. Or check out the free resource library. Everything is linked in the show notes or the description. Not because you have to buy, not because I want to convince you, but because if you're listening to this and it's shifting you and the shit that I've gone through resonates with you and my work helps you and you want to go deeper in it, that's how. Okay? I love you lots, and I hopefully will talk to you about something more upbeat on Thursday.